People who performed sexual favors in school or in the workplace to get ahead. What was it for? And what are things like now? In the 90s, I had an affair with the woman who hired me at a startup.com. I was 24. She was late 40s. I had graduated with a degree in philosophy and was running a blog when she hired me as a copywriter graphic artist, a position that I was not qualified for. She installed me next to her office on the floor below sales, a basically deserted space where we were alone all day. We had sex at work several times, but mostly kept our activities to her place. She also found me a nearby apartment, arranged for me to live in a motel until it was ready, and involved herself in other aspects of my life. She was not an attractive or pleasant woman and the nature of our relationship was transactional, at least at first. I also worked my ass off, so I wasn't coasting just because I was ducking her. Anyways, the company went bust just 9 months after I joined. By then, I had been promoted to content development and had the 4th highest position in the company. I was also basically living with this woman who had turned out to be possessive, delusional, and overall nuts. When the company folded, she started talking about us moving to another startup and getting married. At that point, I ended it and went to grad school instead. Worked in a warehouse 10 years ago. I had the most physical job there, constantly slagging around 130 lb plus product by hand, so I was reasonably jacked after about 4 months there. My job was automated at every other warehouse we owned, but the office manager seemed to like looking at me, and I beat the robots in efficiency and accuracy, so she kept me around. She asked for my help moving some heavy at one day in her office at the end of the day, and I didn't think anything of it. Shoulder was really sore that day, and she noticed me favoring it. So when I was done, she told me she used to work as a massage therapist and offered to help my shoulder. Literally thought nothing of it until 3 minutes into the massage. Her hands were no longer on my shoulder, instead, on my junk. She was reasonably attractive, and everyone else had left for the day, so I took advantage of the situation and ducked her brains out. 3 days later, I got a $3 an hour raise. The company was 4 months into a pay freeze. Her justification: I was beating the robots. We ducked a few times a week, and I got an extra few days off a month, paid, because she was concerned about my shoulder. Edit. Thanks for the silver and plat. Used to blow my boss every Thursday. We had sex once. It was just a part-time retail gig and I got a bigger raise than my more deserving co-workers around the time it started. Actually felt pretty bad about that. I wasn't a lousy employee by any means, but my one co-worker seriously busted her ass and got a smaller raise. But he always let me go home early if we weren't super busy. That was nice. Edit. I'll try to answer questions later, but I gotta go to a different job now. P. Sadly there is no one to blow at this job, though a few have tried. My wife was an intern at an ad company. She ducked one of the managers on a daily basis. She got awesome grades. She ended up marrying him. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thanks for the gold, guys. Little follow up. As soon as we got in a serious relationship she left the company. We have been married for over 10 years and have 2 kids. We are still very happy together. This is either awful or really sweet. You need to clarify the site to OP. Still my wife. I was accidentally getting ahead for ducking my boss once. I was completely unaware until everything ended and suddenly I got laid off. I had a female boss that had a crush on me and I found her really attractive too. I was 20, she was in her early 30s. It was a call center. I did tech support and she was the manager of our team. We flirted a little bit here and there, nothing really more than I did with the customer service girls. There was only one tech support girl and she had a girlfriend. Then one day we were doing some team lunch and she asked me to help her go pick up the food. I was just stoked to get out of taking calls. I didn't really notice we left 2 hours before the lunch until later. Hopped in her car and she said she had to get something at her house before we got the food. We got there, went inside, I said what do you need to get here, and she said laid and just basically jumped on me. It was great, I really liked her too. I had no clue she had planned this whole thing to get me out of the office and to her house. She literally could have just said hey we should hang out and I would have done it. I never asked her out because I thought she was out of my league. After that we hooked up for a while, keeping it quiet because she was my boss. Which was fine with me, I was a dorky 20 years old getting laid regularly. Then one day we were drunk and ducking and she started crying. She's sobbing saying why am I so terrible that the only way I can get a guy is by being his boss and making him duck me. I was shocked and I responded with I am not ducking you because you're my boss. You're super awesome and super ducking hot. She was a short girl with hourglass figure, little thick but in all the right places. You are not making me do anything. I wanted you for months before any of this started. Only reason I never asked you out was I didn't want to make it awkward at work. She then started listing all the she does at work to keep me close and make me like her and make my life better. I found out I was making more than anyone on my team by a decent margin. I got the best desk that other people apparently were jealous of. I didn't care. I was on a few layoff lists and she made sure to get my name off them. Somebody complained about me to her a lot because I said that's ducking stupid to them when they I told her, stop doing all that. I still like you and you do not have to do any of that at work. Duck if I lost my job. I'd find a new one and I'd probably be happy because we wouldn't have to sneak around. The thing is, I think she was attracted to me because of all this she did. I think she felt like she was in control of me, and when she found out I didn't actually care about that or feel like I was in debt to her, she ended it, and next time layoffs happened I was gone. My former boss at a tech company asked me to go away with her for the weekend with her. I declined. My buddy, being the opportunist, started banging her. I received a 2% annual raise and my buddy got a 20% raise. In hindsight, I should have banged her. When I was in college I worked in a little family-owned restaurant. The owner's wife was the manager and, well, she came on to me and we started ducking regularly. It was great because I got to call out whenever I wanted, leave early whenever I wanted, got all the good tables, good shifts, free food, and limited smoke breaks. But all my co-workers hated me. And since she was married, I know I'm a piece of it. I was young and stupid and she was attractive. I knew we weren't going to be together, so when I met someone my own age at school and started dating her, she got really crazy and I ended up getting fired for, I can't even remember now. I was fired for some stupid reason, but it was really because she couldn't bear to see me anymore if I didn't want her. She would text and call me for months afterwards and even showed up at my apartment a few times and also lied saying I got her pregnant. She wasn't. She showed up at my new job and started a huge scene and almost got me fired my first week. So overall, 410 wouldn't recommend. I was in first year pre-med and doing fairly well. I had a bio prof that I found extremely attractive even though she was 55 to my 22. On St. Patrick's Day we were in the lab doing some cell culturing, and as anyone who has done this knows there are some substantial wait times involved. This was a 5-hour lab. We started a cell culture and finished up with our notes but didn't have to be back in the lab for about 2.5 hours to do the rest of the lab, so my lab partner and I decided to go to the campus bar. Well, I drank 2 pitchers of green beer and headed back to the lab. I walked in a little tipsy. I'm 6 feet 5 inches and 240 pounds, and I see the prof reading a book over her lab table. I walked up to her and started flirting. My lab partner tried to pull me away, I guess worried she would be upset we were drinking or something. She starts flirting back, so I ask her if after the lab she wants to come back to the campus bar with us and have some drinks. She says she can't be seen in the campus bar with us but offers to take me to some other bar nearby. We went to the bar and she bought us a few drinks and then we cabbed back to her place. Had sex. Woke up the next morning to people eating breakfast. Her family decided to come over to visit, I guess. Went into the dining room and sat down. People were extremely confused about who the hell I was until she walked into the room and kissed me. Everyone looked really awkward, but what do I care? This continued on for a while and I received an A+ in the course. Went back looking at my work and should have received a B+A. So I'm one of about 4 girls working in a mostly male workplace. This isn't my story, but I'm roommates with the girl who went through is currently going through this. B started about 2 years ago, and right off the bat, everyone knew something was up. Barely legal, no experience in our workplace, but got one of the better jobs here. And she stayed there. Our raises are based mainly on how well you can do your job and how many different positions you can work on our line. But somehow, even though she could only do one job and wasn't particularly good at it, she kept getting raises out the ass. No one else could prove anything, but we all kinda figured she was ducking our supervisor, who was married and twice her age. Neither of them admitted to it, but the raises kept coming. Her performance stayed pretty it, and she basically got away with murder as far as attendance accountability went. Everyone else treated her like it and tried to get her to quit. Fast forward to about 8 months ago, when B's relationship with our boss went south. They broke up, and he's been trying to get her fired for about anything and everything he can think of. The catch is that she has documented proof of their relationship, which she's planning on sending to his wife as well as our bosses if he really does manage to get her fired. So now she's basically got an ironclad position where we work and is making considerably above skill level money wise. I'd say it worked out fairly well for her. Edit. So I've come back to say that while I don't agree with her personal choices, this girl is my friend. Should she have slept with Bossman? No. Does that make her a rit person? Also no. It takes 2 to tango. I don't think it's fair for either of them to lose their livelihoods over this, while mistakes were made on both parts. Neither of them have mistreated the rest of us. It's just a slimy situation all around and I hope they both move past it. Edit number 2, because there seems to be some confusion. I'm going to clarify that this is not a corporate or office job. We work in a slaughterhouse. It's basically a factory job. While she has one of the less itty tasks to perform,